Hi, this is Parker Scott and Jose Maldonado with SKOPE VR version 1.0, and this is the shortcomings video for our project. Our emails are listed below, pscott012@fiu.edu, jmald045@fiu.edu if you want to reach out about any other shortcomings. So I'll go ahead and move over to the Unity editor for this, as that's where most of the shortcomings come from. So if you notice, the shortcomings for this project will mostly be within the experiences. If you ever collaborate with Albert Elias, which I hope he maintains the mentorship for the SKOPE VR project, as he created a great project with just on the PC. It's not AR, not VR. It was just the PC version of it that you could run and use the app using the arrow keys and everything. But the project was very extensive. He developed many experiences, many learning utilities that were very relevant to architecture majors, as that's his major, but he still created a great project within Unity. So most of the shortcomings will come with expanding these different experiences. We had three main ones that we focused on with the light experience, mechanical experience, and soil experience, but there was still a couple more to be made. One being the wind experience. We just couldn't figure out the wind diagrams within the period of time to be able to implement the wind experiences. And you'll see with the particle effects that come with the wind diagrams that they're quite extensive. There's quite a bit of calculation to them, and it's really integrating them in the new environment for the virtual reality. As we created a whole new environment within Unity. We didn't just build on the old PC version or the AR version, as the code was quite different, and we wanted to start fresh with just a nice foundation for carrying on in the future with, you can view the other videos for the system design of how we set it up, the intro video. So aside from developing experiences, there's still a few kinks around the map to work out. The first one being, whenever you remove the wall, in this area, whenever you remove the wall, there's beams behind it. In the simulation, the beams display, in the PC simulation, the beams display different characteristics such as load, length, just various characteristics that you can, these beams, that you can visualize, and it really helps the architecture majors more. To be able to visualize how long these beams are and how much they support. As well, there's a little bit more to the interior requirements. For this section here in specific, there's an animation that was developed that shows the construction of it. And as it's quite an extensive area right here, you can kind of visualize the intricacies behind the building. But for that, we just could not implement it with the virtual reality in the given time constraint. As well, there's more development to be done within the auditorium. The auditorium has, for what we created, it could remove the walls all around the auditorium, but as well there's beams underneath that require more information. And the lighting in here is already developed as well. You just have to activate it. We deactivate it most of the time for the simulation purposes because it bogs down the graphics quite a bit, along with virtual reality. Running the headset, it's a lot on a computer, and it bogs down the scene editor. So within here, the second floor was primarily developed according to the experience, but there's still much more creative freedom that could be done with this area. There's other models out there that display different characteristics within the building, and I believe there's still more development to be done on the second floor. However, besides that, there's also a very large foundation animation that shows the whole foundation under here being developed, how the groundwork was laid. It's quite similar to the soil profile video that we implemented as well. And those animations are a lot of effort was put into them. The artwork looks great on them. They're very educational, and I believe it's important to add those animations as well in future versions. On top of that, within here, within this room and the room next to it, they created something of media players within the PC version that could essentially, it was a TV that rendered educational videos about SIPA. So it was a very creative use of the buildings and the room within here, so that it encourages you to explore. One thing we had issues with was doors, so I believe those could be developed or just removed for the simulation purposes. But developing doors would be a great simulation experience to be able to grab the door handle. But aside from that, there were TVs in here, which the models are in the other project, the previous projects, if you'd like to find them. And there were videos that played, and the videos were also in those assets. So the issue we had was just getting it to play on the Oculus Rift. When you viewed it, there was a weird rendering issue where it would turn pink, the frame, and it just wasn't conducive. We didn't have enough time to fully develop that and work out the kinks on what the issue was with the rendering. But for future projects, that'd be a great addition as well. Inside of here, there's more interior development that needs to be done to show the scale. Because when you're walking around inside of SIPA, it is actually quite a bit taller than what it feels like in the simulation. So I believe some interior addition, maybe some chairs or anything to scale in here, would provide a better scope of what the room actually feels like in real life. Just adding more details will also help with furthering the simulation and making it more realistic to how SIP actually feels. Aside from those changes, the creative freedom is up to the next group and to whatever the professor decides from here on out. So we hope that we set a great foundation for how you can further develop. So the shortcomings list, that concludes it. A little bit lengthy, but we provided some good input. We had a lot of ideas flowing when we were generating the project, and there's a lot of previous ideas that were already developed. So that's why the shortcomings list is the length it is. But for now, thank you for listening, and we hope that if the next group is listening to this, that you are able to implement some of these changes. Thank you.